welcome to the Tavola Kitchen, and this is the #1 dish that I am excited to show you today. So we're gonna make gnocchi, and I'm gonna show you. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with a potato. And these are hot, and I'm gonna put them on my towel. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel this potato. So I'm gonna peel the potato just with a knife. It just came out of the boiling water, simmering water, and I'm just gonna peel it a piece like that. So the reason that we use this potato with the skin on is for 3 reasons. A, one, it's easy. Look at how nice the skin comes off. 2, look at how much of the potato we do not waste. So we're cheap, and since it's easy, but 3, the number 3 reason of why we use the potato without peeling it is to keep as much starch inside of the potato as possible. The more starch is left inside the potato, the less flour we'll have to add, the lighter the gnocchi will be. Watch. So we're gonna take this potato, and we're gonna put this into our food mill. My #1 famous gadget in the kitchen, the food mill. We're gonna take the potato, and I'm gonna put these inside, and I'm gonna just grind this inside there. Is this fun? So we're gonna pass this potato. In Italian, they call this machine a pasta pomodoro. Tonight we're using it as a pasta patate. We're gonna use it because we're passing potatoes in it. So this is a very useful dish in the kitchen. Naturally thickened bean soups, naturally thickened all soups, baby food, and of course gnocchi. Look at that. See how it comes out? Isn't that awesome? Look at that. It's good. We have this one. I'll do one more. So take the other potato, and what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna simply drag it with the back of my knife over the skin and pull it off. It's fast, easy, and fun. So what I say is you can cancel your health club membership if you just make a meal every now and then. It's a little bit of a workout. It's delicious, nutritious, and you know what you're getting, and it's fun. Look at this. Passing it through. So this is called a food mill, and we're passing this through. Look at how nice it comes out. I make mashed potatoes with this. Put about 1/3 of the soup through it and pass it through naturally thickened soup. Look at it. Nice. So you're there, and here, and don't forget, this is the most important. There's the profit of the whole thing right there. That's it. Tonight we're going to be profitable. Yeah. Good. So the next thing we're going to do with these passed potatoes is we're going to add some flour. So the proportion of potatoes to flour that we're going to add is it's going to be 3 to 1. 3 parts potato, 1 part flour. And we could bring these things together and it would work. It would work well, but it wouldn't taste very good. So what are we going to do to make it tasty? What's the #1 thing we add in Italian pasta to make it tasty? Cheese. I'm going to add a good handful of cheese right onto the right-on side. I'm going to add it right into the flour. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, and there's a secret ingredient that Italians use in a savory way, where we just normally, as Americans, use it in a sweet way, which is nutmeg. We are going to use a small amount of nutmeg. nutmeg in Italian is noce di moscato. And we're gonna put some of this directly into our seasoned flour mixture. That's good. And we're gonna mix that up. We're gonna mix it up with our hands. So now this is pre-mixed. Our potatoes are beautifully mixed. And we're gonna add 1 egg. We're gonna add 1 egg per kilo of potatoes. And the reason we're gonna add an egg per kilo, not all recipes do, we're gonna do this to make it a little bit lighter and enrich the gnocchi. You take 1 egg, crack into the bowl, give it a big whisk. Good. Now we're going to bring these 3 things together. We have the potatoes, which will go into the seasoned flour mixture. We'll just put these right inside. Just put these right inside into the seasoned flour mixture. We can just incorporate these 2 together like this. Incorporate these 2 together. So we're going to think of making biscuits instead of pasta or bread, because the characteristics of great gnocchi are tender. We don't want them to be tough like bread or pizza dough or pasta. Those are great characteristics, but this we want it to be tender. And see how evenly incorporated this is? This is exactly the characteristic we want. Now we're going to add the egg. We're going to add a small amount of beaten eggs inside. And now we're just going to mix it together. We're going to mix it together so it's just mixed enough. How do we know that it's not overmixed? Because it's not mixed enough. So now I want to think of wetting every single molecule of flour with egg and do it swiftly. So we go. Swift. So we go. We're mixing it. So now we have a dough. Voila. So how do we know that our dough is not overmixed? Because as you can see, it's not quite mixed enough, which is great. This is one of the characteristics of great gnocchi, not overmixing it. We don't want to overdevelop the gluten. So I'm going to give it 1 or 2 more turns so you can see. Nice. Look at that. Nice. One more turn. Let's see. Perfect. So you can see now we have a just mixed together dough, and I'm going to show you a cheating way. We're going to bring this together very simply, very quickly to go to the end result. So I'm going to take a good amount of flour. I'm going to flour our workspace. And I'm going to just simply press this out into a shape. And there's a good amount of flour on the bottom, and that's just to prevent it from sticking. I'm going to take my specialty tool. I'm just going to roll it out from the center out. And put a little more flour on the top. So this is simply just to prevent it from not sticking to the table, because it's a pretty wet dough and we don't want it to be sticking. So I'm going to just cut it into nice logs like this. So we're going to take these and we're just going to roll these into little logs, just like those Play-Doh logs. Isn't that fun? We'll roll them into logs. And I'm going to have them all about the same diameter. This is it. Some people like them small. Some people like them Texas size. I like them this size. There we are, is a nice log. The secret is we're just going to roll it from the inside out, just like this. And it comes up with a nice, beautifully smooth log. And just keep rolling it. It feels nice, it's warm, it's easy, it's fun. It's impossible to mess up. I defy anybody to show me a messed up one in the bowl with all that delicious sauce and cheese. Children love doing it. It's the last one. And so what we're going to do is we have these beautiful logs of gnocchi, almost gnocchi. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut these into pieces that you would recognize as gnocchi. So I'm going to take this chef's knife and I'm just simply going to cut it into pieces, keeping my fingers back, and I'm just going to cut them into pieces. Gnocchi. Now, a lot of times people would say, hey, my grandmother used to put ridges on one and a hole on the side, or squeeze it into a piece like that. There's a few different shapes, and they're all valid. I personally, at a tavola, we do not put ridges on it because I call it playing with your food, and it's just another step that I don't think makes it better. I want to touch your food as little as possible. But here's how to do it. I'll show you a couple ways. One, we just simply squeeze both ends. And what this does is it holds more sauce and it feels a little different on your tongue. But another really cool way is we can take the back of a fork and we can give it a flick with our finger like that. We can give it a flick, and what this does, as you'll see, it puts a hole on one side and it puts nice ridges on the other side. It's the difference between penne lisce and penne rigate, because it holds the sauce on the gnocchi. The more flavorful sauce on your pasta, that's desirable. Never a pool in the bottom of your bowl, but as much sauce hanging on your noodle as possible. So finish the rest. So as you can see, 2 potatoes makes a lot of gnocchi, a lot. So let's drop these in the water. Take these gnocchi. We're going to take these gnocchi. We're going to drop them right into our rapidly boiling salted water, away from you. So if it splashes away, not toward you. And we'll give it one stir, so we don't end up with one big gnocco. And then as soon as it rises to the top, then it's going to be ready. While we're waiting for these gnocchi to float up, what I'll do, I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil to the bottom of the pan. And as soon as just so they don't stick together, and I'm just going to put them in the pan, and then they're completely fully cooked, and they're ready to eat. You see the little ones come up faster, the big ones later. Look at that. Look at that. It truly is a very easy, simple dish. But that's the beautiful part about Italian cooking. The essence of it is quality ingredients, simply prepared, in a tasty combination. So I like to bring it hot, tasty, and on time for my guests. Two potatoes made a lot of gnocchi. A lot of gnocchi. So what we can do is we're going to simply cool this out to room temperature. Once it's cooled to room temperature, we wrap it up and put it in the cooler, put it in our refrigerator until our guests arrive. It'll last up to 3 days, stored coolly, wrapped up, and in the cooler. The next thing we're going to make is we're going to make the meat part. We're going to show you how to simply grill steak. And the way we're going to simply grill a steak is we're going to go from cold to hot. And I'm going to season the cook side. Public Cruise and I are going to season the cook side of the steak like this. This is the dish they called the #1 dish in the United States a couple years ago by Forbes magazine. I'll show you how I do it. Cold steak, olive oil, directly on the grill. We're gonna let it cook. When the flames touch up, I'm gonna just knock the flames down a little bit. We don't want our flames touching our meat, and we're gonna let it cook. We're just gonna be patient, and we're gonna let it cook. If I really need to play with my food, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it from this way to this way. Not turning it over. You notice I didn't add any salt. When I turn it over, then I'm gonna add a good amount of salt to it on the cooked side only. It's been cooking on the side probably about 5-6 minutes on a very hot grill. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take these tongs, we're just gonna turn it from here, turn it 90 degrees, right there. Look at that. Look at that, nice. Over here, nice. One of the hardest things to do is just walk away. Just walk away, just let it go. Just let it go, just forget about it. Don't play flippy floppy with your meat. Been cooking. I turned it side 1, turned it 90 degrees, side 90 degrees. Now we're going to turn it over. Then I'm going to salt it. I'm going to put more salt than you may think, but don't worry, it's not all going to go into the meat. A lot of it's going to wash off. But we need a good amount of salt in the beginning. We're salting the cooked side, because what's happening right now is, since there's no cooked side right now, the heat is just going through it and it's less apt to burn. Watch this. Watch when I turn it. Look at that. Wow. Now on to the cooked side, I'm going to add more oil and more salt. Look at that. And a little more oil. Now I know what a lot of people are saying is I don't eat that much salt, but you wait. We're not going to eat all that salt. But we must have that amount of salt on the food, on our steak, to make it tasty. That's what's going to be tasty. This is a very thick steak, and what we want to do is we want that salt to melt and permeate into the steak so that it tastes good when we eat it. It's not going to be salty. Salty food is bad. But so is bland food. No! That's good. There we are. So we see this has been cooking nicely on this side. I'm going to put this, I'm going to finish it in the oven. Nice coating of oil into the hot oven. Yes. Okay, now let's make the gnocchi. But now let's finish it. While the steak is finishing cooking, about 9 minutes for medium rare, we're going to make gnocchi, and I'm going to show you the very simple sauce that all children like. It's very simply butter and sage. We're going to combine these two things together, and we're going to make a delicious sauce that everybody in the world loves to eat. To begin, I'm just going to put a small amount of butter in the pan, and some sage. I'm going to take some sage. You see, I'm just going to put just the leaves, no stems, and we're just simply going to put this in the sauce, in the pan with the butter, and this is going to make a delicious, classic Italian sauce that everybody likes. What we're going to do with this is we're going to make 1 + 1 = 5, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to brown the butter. So there's a few stages that this butter is going to go through. You'll see it's melting. It's melting. Then what's happened, it's going to separate. And then when the butter separates, we have the butter fat on the top, butter solids on the bottom. We're going to continue cooking it. And then what's going to happen is the butter solids are going to start to caramelize. They're going to turn the taste, the color, and the smell of toasted hazelnuts. Beautiful. So as you can see, the butter is melted. And we're going to leave the sage right inside the butter. So what's going to happen with this is the sage, by the time the butter is nice and browned, the sage is going to be crispy, and we're going to eat that. So it's going to stay in there. You can pick it out or eat it if you like. I personally love eating it. You can see right now it's foaming up nicely, but how do we know when it's done? What's going to happen first is it's going to start to foam up, and what's going to happen, it's going to turn slightly brown. But the real magic happens on the bottom of the pan. You'll see brown specks. And what we want to do inside of this is we want to have the brown specks become as deeply golden brown as possible. Very, very rich and nutty, not black. So timing is everything with this. Look at that. All right, we see that there's something starting to happen in there. Now, it doesn't take very long. It doesn't take very long until we're at the burn either. So you see it's starting to foam. The next stage is it's going to start to turn slightly brown. It's starting to happen. Nice, nice. Look at that. Nice and foamy and the brown specks. Beautiful. We'll let that sit off the heat, and you see brown specks. That's the goodie. That's the goodie. That's the nuttiness that we love. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cooked gnocchi, we're going to drop those into a pot of boiling water, and they're going to boil again. They're going to float again. When they float to the top, we're simply going to slide those into our sauce, toss it, add a little cheese, and then serve it. We're going to serve it with our bistecca. That's our meat and potatoes. We're ready to take the steak out. We like it rare to medium rare in the center. Let's see what we got. Nice. Look at that. Whoa, that's what we're talking about. Bistecca. So I'm going to take the excess salt and take the excess salt off of the side. But we're going to keep this inside. And what we're going to do is we're going to let this rest for like 10 minutes. And the reason that we're going to let this rest for 10 minutes is we want the internal juices to cool slightly, so when we slice it across the grain, that the juices don't run out. We want to retain the juices inside, so we're going to let all our meat rest for 10 minutes. So what we're going to do, here's our meat and potatoes, a tavola style. So we're going to just put this gnocchi back into our water, put this gnocchi, the portion that we're going to serve, right into our boiling water. And as soon as it floats, we're going to toss it into our readily prepared sauce, and it's going to go right onto our heated plates. That's good. So our meat has been resting for 9 minutes. Let's find a sharp knife and slice it across the grain, put these two together, and eat it. So now what we're going to do is the meat is rested 10 minutes. It's slightly cool to the touch. Cool down. Now when we slice it across the grain, the juices are not going to run out. So with this, let's slice it across here. Let's remove. There it is. Look at that. Whoa. Look at that. That's what we like. We have the meat there. And now we're going to simply cut pieces. Nice. What we're going to do is we're going to take our sliced, perfectly cooked, rare bistecca. We're going to put it in our serving platter, and we're going to leave room on the side to put our potatoes, which is our gnocchi. They're coming up in a second. Yeah. We got the bistecca. And let's see how our gnocchi are doing. Our sauce is just put the finishing touches on it right now to take it right to the very, very edge of cooking. Sauce is perfectly ready. The gnocchi have floated. We're going to remove them from the water. We always remove the pasta from the water, never pour it over. You're going to have the gnocchi into sauce. Look at that. Now, look at that. Wow. So as you can see, there's a little bit of excess butter that's here, but that's good, because what we want to do is we want to double enrich the nutty part of the butter fat, the butter solids. So we're going to drain off a small amount of the butter fat. So as you can see, do you see how nice and nutty it is? The sage is crunchy, the gnocchi are perfectly cooked, there's a good amount of sauce. Now what are we going to do? We're going to add this. Cheese. Whoa, come on, come on. Here, give it a toss. Look at that. Now we're ready. So we have the bistecca. We have the gnocchi. Now, the marriage of these two, gnocchi and bistecca together, this is meat and potatoes, a tavola style. Beautiful.
If you would, go ahead and hit that like button, as it helps us to continue to make content just like the video you just watched. Also, hit the subscribe button and hit that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest videos as we release them. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.